morning, guys. I am Patty Elhoff, the author of Upcycle with Decoupage. You can get that on Amazon or Barnes & Noble, Scobie Books. And today I'd like to show you how we can make a romantic wine bottle that you can use for Christmas. You could use it any time of the year, but you can do a Christmas theme on here. Today I'm just going to do something that's kind of shabby and pretty and romantic, and here's what we will be needing. This is, I think it's only available in the hardware stores or the big box home stores. I have used this in the past, and I never run it through the dishwasher, but I am able to wash it off. Today, anyway, what we're going to need, we'll be using napkins because there are so many beautiful napkins out there. I'm going for a Victorian shabby look. So I'm also going to be using some pearls that I'm going to hot glue around the bottle. So I'll need my hot glue gun, decoupage glue. Going to need a few more brushes than this, but 3 or 4 sponge brushes, a spray with a very fine mist of water, top coat, and our plastic wrap. The cheapest stuff you can find is perfect for this. And the first thing you'll want to do is take your bottle and spray it outside. You're going to need to do this, and I put it in a box and spray it a couple of times and just let it dry. Like this bottle I have had for easily 10 years. It's a wine bottle that I do not put through the dishwasher. However, I did use the Zinsser on it as the base. So the first thing we'll do after we've spray painted the bottle is we're going to add our images. These napkins are 3-ply, and I would like to separate just 1 ply from the napkin. This is just something I like to do personally. Sometimes when you use all 3 layers it gets too wrinkly, and sometimes if you just use the top layer it's too sheer and it doesn't give as intense of a picture on the bottle as I would like. So I've separated that. I'm going to go around the edges. Once you go down the side and you wet it like that, the napkins are so sheer that as you wet them, you can also use that sponge brush to just pull away the edge like that. You'll have a cleaner edge. You'd want to wet it first, then go back over where you just wet and pull it away. Leaves you with a nice clean tear. By the way, I suggest you have at least 2 of these large dinner-sized napkins. The cocktail napkins, if you've got smaller ones, you may need to use a few more. But it's better to get this prep work done ahead of time so that you don't have sticky fingers and then have to go back and do all of that. For this step, I laid down a piece of the saran wrap. And there's a little left over here, which is what we want. And I also pulled off a spare piece just to keep on the side. And we're going to apply a little bit of decoupage glue. And you want to overlap it a little bit over the bottom, so put a little bit of decoupage glue down here. We'll carefully take our napkin. I'm going to place it over the area where we just applied the decoupage glue. Pull it a little bit tight, and make sure you're overlapping down at the bottom here a little. Don't rub, we're just pressing it down to where we just applied the decoupage glue. Going to take this fine mist and spritz right where we just placed the napkin, then pull the plastic wrap up. Now, only over the plastic wrap can you press down. And this won't remove all of the wrinkles, but it will remove a good deal of the wrinkles. And I just want to get that used piece of saran wrap out of there. And we'll repeat that around the bottle, what I just did. Add the decoupage glue, put the napkin over it, spritz the napkin, and for this last section, I put down a brand new piece of saran wrap, and I'm going to place the glue. I'm just going to overlap a little bit of the area where we started. I'm pulling it a little bit, being careful not to touch this other section too much, that's still damp. Pressing it down. There's a little excess left right here, and what I want to do is let that dry there. Now, we did not put decoupage glue all over this section, we just went around the curve here. And what I'm going to do is tear away. So what I would like to do is first go around the bottle with an extra piece of saran wrap, clean. And if you've got any areas where it looks a little too wrinkled, and just be careful, we're just patting that down really. We're not pushing, pulling, stretching. We're just going to tap this down. I'm going to take my second napkin, and there are a few areas that I think are very pretty on the napkin, so I'm just going to roughly go around and tear those pieces out. And I'm just tearing enough so that I can cover that top section of the bottle. And a lot of that is actually going to be covered with pearls, so don't get too carried away with that. This is a piece of aluminum foil. I'm going to lay the bottle down on this section where there's actually a little bit of excess. But I put this into a cold oven while it's damp or wet. I then set it to 170 degrees. When the alarm goes off to let me know it's reached 170, I turn it off and leave it in for about 10 or 15 minutes. Here is the bottle fresh out of the oven. Now when I pulled it away from the aluminum foil, I did tear a little piece. And let's get started on this part up here. First of all, this little section right here where we had the little mishap, we can easily remedy that by taking the same section of the napkin, and you don't have to get too exact, but you can just tear the same section that you originally had there and decoupage it over that spot. Good, so we'll apply some decoupage glue right along the edge here. Take a section that we had cut out earlier. And again, we're going to take a little piece of clean saran wrap. And I'm going to continue that all around this edge. And when you get up to the top here, you'll overlap. And the other thing is this piece that's hanging off extra here. You can take your wet brush. Make sure it's very wet. You might want to run it under water if this spray bottle isn't getting it wet enough. And go right along the edge where you'd like to tear it. And if you've got a pattern like this, put the brush on the outside of the pattern so that you tear away the excess, but you still leave the leaves or whatever you're working with, flowers. And you can then just add a little bit of decoupage glue underneath that. Use the saran wrap to pat it down. We're going to be putting this in the oven again once we're done with the top section, so this will all smooth itself out. And we're going to just complete this whole top section up here. Once you've finished the whole bottle and you've allowed it to dry one time in the oven, apply 2 more coats of decoupage glue and let it dry between each coat. Then when that coat is dry, the final coat is dry, you want to put your top coat on. I have already applied the top coat, and I wanted to mention you can take a nail file and go all around the edge here. You can do the same thing on the bottom. Just file around those edges. I'm just going to hot glue the pearls onto here. That's what I've been doing. I tied a little knot right here. Hot gluing the pearls around the center part of this, and I will put the cork into it. There is our final decoupaged bottle. Again, thank you so much for subscribing, guys. If you've got any questions or comments, please check out my Facebook page, which is Upcycle with Decoupage. 3 words, Upcycle with Decoupage on Facebook, and send me any pictures that you'd like, or ask me any questions, or just respond here on YouTube, and I'll see if I can help you out. Thanks again. See you next week. Bye-bye.